Hello and welcome to the Healthy Living Show. I'm your host, Megan Copeland, the Marketing Manager for Hilton Head Regional Healthcare, and today I'm filling in for Debbie Lines. Today I'm with Brooke Gaspari. She is a new OBGYN for Riverside Women's Care. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your background and experience and what has brought you to the area of Hilton Head.
Yeah, so I completed my medical school training in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at a school called Jefferson Medical College. I then completed my residency at Lankenau Medical Center, which is also right outside of Philadelphia. My husband and I were looking to move down to the Hilton Head area because my family lives in South Carolina, so we were happy to relocate.
That's great to be near your family. So we were talking a little bit just prior to the show, and I was just asking you a little bit about what you're really interested in. Can you give the viewers a little bit of an outlook of what you really like to specialize in?
Yes, so I love to specifically talk about preconception counseling, contraception, high-risk pregnancies as well, and menopause.
Yeah, and since joining Riverside Women's Care, where will you be practicing?
I'll be at all three of the locations, so in the Beaufort, the Bluffton, and the Hilton Head office.
And will you be assisting with delivering babies at both hospitals?
Correct, yep, so I'll be delivering both at Coastal Carolina and here at Hilton Head Regional.
That's great. So tell us a little bit about your background and experience and where you went to school and what training that you underwent.
So I completed my undergraduate education at Penn State University and completed my medical school at Jefferson, and then I went on to do my residency at Lankenau Medical Center. At Lankenau we did a lot of surgery, so that was great in terms of the experience, especially with the robotics.
Yeah, so we do have the Da Vinci robot at Coastal Carolina Hospital, so you're a little bit experienced in that.
Correct, yes. Yep.
Okay, and what types of surgeries would you do on that robot?
Hysterectomies, myomectomies, and surgeries on the ovaries as well.
So you like to work on the OB side and also the GYN side?
Correct, yes.
You're passionate about both?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so you recently moved here to Hilton Head Island, and you know, this is a great community, and we have a lot of people who are outside and outdoors, and we have men and women from all ages and aspects of life, and so we're happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
But recently we just started serving people in Hilton Head at the Riverside office. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so they just opened up the office here at Hilton Head Hospital, which I think is going to make it a little bit easier for these patients that live out this way as well. So we're excited to get that practice started as well.
Yeah, and so recently we just started a campaign from island to inland, and so the Riverside Women's Care physicians are now serving from I-95 to the island, which is great.
Yes, yes. I think we're going to be able to reach more patients that way and sort of better serve our community.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you would like to talk about for the viewers? Anything? I know prevention is a big thing for everyone around here, and so, you know, just following up with your healthcare provider and making those annual appointments is very important.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, we love to see you every single year, and we can talk about whatever you might need at that stage in your life, whether it's preconception counseling, talking about getting pregnant, in pregnancy, and afterwards, and what your plan is for birth control, and even whenever menopause comes.
Right. And so earlier you talked about how high-risk pregnancy is something that you are really passionate about. Can you tell us just a little bit about that program here, and if there is a physician available and when he's on site?
Yes, absolutely. So I had a lot of training with high-risk pregnancies during my residency, which was nice and gave me a good breadth of experience. Here at the Bluffton office, they have a high-risk specialist or a maternal fetal medicine physician from MUSC come down once a week to see any of our high-risk patients. Okay,
and what qualifies you to be high-risk?
There can be certain conditions, pre-existing conditions such as diabetes, chronic hypertension, and then there can be things that develop in pregnancy as well, such as gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, or gestational hypertension.
And we talked about age being a high risk. Is that?
Age can be a risk factor as well. So the age of 35 is considered advanced maternal age, which seems quite young, I know. And then a second age that we sort of use is 40 years of age, where we sort of step up our surveillance as well during the pregnancy.
So I'm near the 30-year-old age, and I always say 30 is the new 20.
Yes, listen, I agree.
Yeah, so yesterday I actually had the chance to talk to Dr. Harmon, and we talked about just getting pregnant and what the fertility ages were. And so can you tell us a little bit about the fertility ages in regards to the age that we just spoke about?
Yeah, so at the age of 35, the egg reserve really starts to go on a downward trend. By the age of 40, that trend becomes a little bit more significant. So I tell people, if you're looking to have kids later in life and you know that's something that you're interested in, then we can always talk about egg retrieval and sort of banking your eggs to use them for a later time.
And is that something that we do here locally?
It's something that we would refer you to a reproductive endocrinologist for.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
I know that is something that is very popular with the ladies nowadays, since
Yes.
30 is really the new
Yes.
20. That's great. So we're really glad to have you here. We know that the Riverside Women's Care Physician Group is large and it's just going to continue expanding, and this is a great opportunity for our community. And you know, you came from very far away, but you're going to really enjoy it here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me,
Yes.
and I'm so looking forward to it.
Thank you. And so we'll be right back for our next part of the episode, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Hello, and welcome back to the Healthy Living Show. I'm your host, Megan Copeland, the Marketing Manager for Hilton Head Regional Healthcare, and today I'm filling in for Debbie Lines. And today I'm joined by Dr. Femi Ajibade, who is a OBGYN for Riverside Women's Care, who just started yesterday. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell our listeners just a little bit about your background and experience?
So I started at Emory University, and then I went to medical school at Meharry Medical College. I did my first year of my residency there, and then transferred to Sunrise Hospital in Las Vegas.
Wow. So that's pretty far from here.
Yeah.
What brought you to Hilton Head Island?
So I'm originally from Georgia. My family lives in Macon, Georgia. So this was a welcome change from the dry heat and from being so far away from family. So I'm really close now.
That's great, and we all love to be close by our family, and this is also a beautiful place to live. So can you tell us a little bit about, you know, joining Riverside Women's Care and where you're going to be practicing?
Yeah, so Riverside has 3 clinic locations, and we cover 2 hospitals. So I will be at all 3 locations, the Beaufort, Bluffton, and Hilton Head clinic sites, and then Coastal Carolina and Hilton Head Regional.
Okay, and so the 24-hour laborist model is something that we've had at Coastal Carolina and has been wildly successful. And from what I've recalled, you're going to be joining that team. So can you tell us a little bit about the laborist model and what that means to our community?
Yes, so one of the things that actually attracted me to this practice was that laborist model.
Wow.
I like that it is traditionally, your physician is in the clinic and is on call, and they have to shuttle between both places. So it can take away from the care that you feel like you're getting in the clinic if your physician has to run to a delivery, or like when you're in the hospital and your physician is 30 minutes away, and then you're like, well, I want to have this baby right now.
Right.
And people are like trying to coax you to wait for your physician. So I feel like it gives us more one-on-one individualized patient encounter, and it just makes the patient experience a whole lot better.
Right.
And also it tends to give the physician more work-life balance, so you're not getting that cranky physician that's being called or woken up from home at 2 in the morning.
Right.
And that kind of stuff. So it also affords us what we have as a pre-call system. It's a backup system where someone is available to come in if there was an emergency or something like that, so that we do have more of a teamwork aspect to it, and we're really collegiate and always willing to help each other out, so that it ultimately benefits the patient more.
That's great. And I personally have friends who pick practices because they want someone from that specific practice to be there caring for them the day that they are going into delivery. So I know that's a huge benefit to our patients and our community. So can you tell us a little bit about that laborist model possibly coming to Hilton Head Hospital?
So that is in the works. We did just start covering the Hilton Head Hospital, and so we've actually worked it into our call system, and hopefully by the end of the year, beginning of next year, that we will have that 24/7 coverage.
That's great. So is there any specialties or any focuses that you are really passionate about and your patients and who you like to care for?
Yeah, so I really love taking care of women of all ages who are pregnant. I enjoy STD treatment and like counseling and contraceptive management.
Okay, and so for the STD counseling, what age should you start speaking to your child or an adolescent woman?
So I generally start speaking to the preteen about the puberty and sexual consent and STD management.
Right. Okay. And so at what age does a preteen start seeing an OBGYN?
So generally, you don't have to see an OBGYN until you are 18, but some people prefer to start seeing us when they start thinking about embarking on sexual activity so that they can understand their bodies, they can understand contraception, and so sort of like when they start having like hormonal changes, they're dealing with acne, they're dealing with irregular menses and things like that. We'll typically start seeing patients like as early as 13,
right?
But most of our patients come to us about 15, 16.
And is that the same age that they should be getting the shot for ovarian cancer as well? And do you guys do that at the OBGYN office, or does the primary care physician do that?
There is not a shot for ovarian cancer at this time, but there is a shot to help prevent cervical cancers,
yes.
the HPV vaccine.
Yes, that's what I'm
we recommend it starting at age 11.
11.
And you can get it at your pediatrician office, or you can get it at an OBGYN office.
Okay, great. That's great. And so we really appreciate you coming on the show today and talking with us. And I know that Riverside Women's Care is very happy to have you, and so is our community, and expanding to the Hilton Head Island area. And so thank you again for joining us, and have a good week.
Thank you.